Mga kapatid, sasagutin ko ang isyu naman nila, pinapalakad nila, na si Muhammad daw maraming asawa, compared to Jesus Christ. Aywan ko ba, ang mga Kristiyano pag nagbabato sila, ay talagang hangal at walang utak talaga. Isipin mo, saan ba ang dapat sundin? Tayong tao, hindi na ako I'm not against Jesus Christ. Tandaan ninyo, I'm not against Jesus Christ. I am against those people who worship Jesus Christ, teaching us God, at ginawa nilang katawa-tawa ang buhay ni Jesucristo. Pinagyayabang nila nga hindi naman dapat gagawin. Example, pinagyayabang nila si Jesucristo na binata. Si Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, marami daw asawa. Kung yan ang pinagmamalaki ninyo mga kapatid, huwag kayong mag-asawa. Magpareho kayo sa mga pare, gaya sa pupa, maging bakla na lang kayo. Huwag kayong mag-asawa. Dahil ang tunay na lalaki, talagang naghanap siya ng babae. Pag isa kang lalaki, hindi ka naghanap ng babae, may sakit ka, physically or mentally. Ganoon din ang babae. Pag hindi siya maghanap ng lalaki, may sakit ang babae mentally and physically. Pero kung normal ka nga tao, talaga maghanap ka ng opposite sex mo. At ginawa ninyong example, si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Jesus Christ, nga mas mabuti si Jesus Christ. I-compare nyo dahil maraming asawa si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Di ba nyo alam nga binata si Jesucristo? May isa pang asawa si Jesucristo? Nag-aasawa ba si Jesucristo sa mundo? At sabihin niya, may buti si Jesucristo dahil isang asawa. Si Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam ay maraming asawa. Buti kung ganon. Walang asawa si Jesucristo Binata So ang comparison ninyo ay hindi talaga pwede. You cannot compare Muhammad and Jesus Christ about how to raise a family. Ang pamilya, paano buhayan ang pamilya? Paano ng mga anak at apo? Ay hindi niya yan naranasan. Wala siyang karanasan na ganoon. So iba si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, leading the war, to defend your territory. Ay hindi pwede si Jesucristo defending the territory and leading the war dahil wala siyang ganito. Wala siyang hindi ko masisisi si Jesucristo. Sinisisi ko itong mga taong itong mga unggoy ng mga ito. Dahil ang mga nila ay pilitin nila na i-compare si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam kay Jesus Christ. Hindi pwede. Gusto niya ipako rin si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Tapos ano pang pangbabato nila? Hindi nila iniisip ba kung ito ay mag-rebound sa mukha nila? Si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam dumatay daw sa lason. Si Jesus Christ hindi namatay sa lason, ay talagang kahangalan. Bakit? Grante nga namatay si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam sa lason. Ano ang kinakamatay ng inyong Diyos? Diyos ninyo namatay. Di ba? Katawa-tawa, Diyos ninyo namatay? Or anak ng Diyos namatay? Anong kinakamatay niya? Binitin ba sa cross? Or pinako sa cross? Pinakuan, di ba? Dinuraan, pinakuan, pinagsasalitaan ng masama, piinom pa ng binigar. Ayun sa inyong Biblia. Grabe ang pagkamatay ni Jesucristo. Ang pagkamatay sa cross? Ang pagkamatay sa cross, ginagamit in the Roman time, ginagamit din ito sa mga old and ancient time to punish a person and matikman niya ang lingering death. Lingering death ang ibig sabihin, talagang masakit na kamatayan. Mas grabe ang pagkamatay. Saan ba? Ikaw ngayon pipiliin ka kung talagang meron kang kaaway, huhulihin ka. Painumin ka ng lason? Patay ka na? Or ipapako sa cross, ilang oras ka, maubusan ka muna ng dugo, saka ka na mamatay. Saan ang pipiliin mo? Mas mabuti palang mamatay nga sa lason kaysa mamatay ka sa pako. Matagal ka. Imagine, nagbitay ka sa cross, mainit, binibilad ka, at naubusan ka ng dugo. Mas mahirap nga niyang kamatayan At ang katawa-tawa pa, Pilitin ninyo nga si Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, hindi siya naiwas sa kamatayan ng Diyos. Hindi niyo iniisip nga Diyos nga ninyo mismo eh. Diyos niya mismo ay hindi nakaiwas sa kamatayan eh. Pinako sa cross ang Diyos ninyo. Ha? In fact, ang sinasabing Diyos sa Biblia ay walang kamatayan. Ha? Walang kamatayan. Eh, tapos sabihin niyo ang Diyos ninyo ay namatay. Sabihin naman niyo, si Kristo Diyos naman at tao. Ay si Jesus ano sabi? Huwag kayong magsalita ng ganyan nga si Kristo ay Diyos at tao. Salita niyo yan eh. Paparusahan kayo, kasinungalingan kayo eh. Kasinungalingan.
Every time I post a video about jihad, several Muslims and some non-Muslims send me messages saying, "David, why are you judging an entire religion by the actions of a few people?" These messages are confusing because nowhere have I ever said, "Look, some Muslims carried out a terrorist attack, therefore Islam promotes terrorism." Instead, I go through Islam's most trusted sources, showing that Muhammad's teachings promote jihad. So I'm not judging Islam by the actions of a few Muslims, I'm explaining what it teaches. I can only assume that the people who tell me not to judge an entire religion by the actions of a few aren't saying this because they've thought carefully about any points I've made. They're saying it because this is just what they've been trained to say whenever someone criticizes Islam. There's no actual thought involved. It's now an automated response. But since I'm getting bored pointing this out every time I talk about jihad, I decided to make a short video clearly stating my position on judging religions. My official position on judging Islam is this: we don't judge Islam based on the actions of Muslims who slaughter unbelievers in the name of Allah, or rape their female captives, or beat their wives into submission, or murder cartoonists. We don't judge Islam by ISIS, or Al-Qaeda, or the Taliban, or Boko Haram, or Al-Shabaab, or any of the other terrorist groups who want to violently subjugate the entire world to Islam. Instead, we judge Islam based on the teachings and example of Muhammad, a man who A. was convinced at one point that he was demon-possessed, B. tried repeatedly to commit suicide, C. admittedly delivered revelations from the devil, D. complained that he was a victim of a magic spell that gave him delusional thoughts and false beliefs, E. supported his religion by robbing people, F. started a war with Mecca when he had a chance to live in peace in Medina, G. had people assassinated for criticizing his religion, H. beheaded hundreds of Jews for trying to defend themselves once they realized he was eliminating them, I. ordered his followers to execute anyone who leaves his religion, J. commanded his followers to violently subjugate the entire world, K. tortured people for money, L. bought, sold, owned, and traded black African slaves, M. called Ethiopians raisin heads and claimed that Satan looks like a black man, N. had sex with a 9-year-old girl, O. had at least 9 wives at one time even though his own revelations only allowed 4, P. married the wife of his own adopted son after causing the divorce by lusting after her, Q. had sex with his slave girls, R. broke the promise he made to his wives that he would stop having sex with his slave girls after he got caught with a slave girl in the bed of his wife Hafsa, S. allowed his followers to rape their female captives, T. took the most beautiful captives back to his own tent, U. told his followers they could beat their wives into submission, V. declared that women are stupid and that their testimony is unreliable, W. promoted idolatrous pagan practices like kissing the black stone and bowing down to the Kaaba, X. repeated stories based on forgeries and passed them off as revelations from God, Y. portrayed God as deceptive and Jesus as a complete failure, and Z. has kept more people from knowing the true God than any other false prophet in history. So, if we judge Islam by Muhammad, what can we conclude? Worst religion ever. But we need to be consistent here, which means that we shouldn't judge Christianity based on the actions of Christians who invented hospitals to care for the sick, invented orphanages to care for unwanted children, pioneered the Western education system by starting universities like Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, Yale, and Princeton, led the scientific revolution, ended slavery in the West, and so on. We don't judge Christianity by all the Christians who changed the world. We judge Christianity by the teachings and example of Jesus, who A created the universe, B sustains the universe in existence, C laid aside his glory so that he could enter creation as a human being to suffer for our sake, D, as to his human nature, was born of a virgin, E fulfilled dozens of Old Testament prophecies, F miraculously fed thousands of people on more than one occasion, G walked on water, H could calm storms by speaking, I healed the sick, J cleansed the lepers, K cast out demons, L raised the dead, M made the lame walk, N gave sight to the blind, O gave hearing to the deaf, P gave hope to the oppressed, Q confronted and rebuked their oppressors, R broke down the barriers that kept people divided by race, class, and gender, S ordered his followers to love everyone, including their enemies, T commanded his followers not to use violence in his name, U endured torture and death for our sins, V told the Father to forgive those who crucified him, W rose from the dead, X gives us his righteousness so that we can know God, Y intercedes with the Father on our behalf, and Z will eventually judge the entire world. So, if we judge Christianity by Jesus, what can we conclude? Best message ever. To all the Muslims who sent me messages pointing out that we shouldn't judge Islam by the actions of Muslims, thank you for the comments. I agree with you completely. We don't judge religions by their adherents. We judge religions by their central figures and teachings. But now that we've judged Islam and Christianity by the teachings and example of Muhammad and Jesus, respectively, how's that working out for you?